Hello, everyone. Clang, bang, clang, bang.
Cheers.
Nathan is drinking his notes today.
I don't have any.
Do you want a drink? Do you
This
want someone to
gives
grab you a
notes
drink?
of notes. I like it.
Wow. Dan, throw a drink at Nathan's head.
What do you want?
Do you have like Coke or anything?
Yeah, I've Coke down here. Make sure that's picked up
That's
on the
right.
mic real quick. Yes, I have
Dan
Coca-Cola.
getting Nathan a drink. Hello, everyone.
Wow.
Welcome to Candela Obscura, session 1 with the Circle of 5.
Yes.
Wow, we are here. This is exciting. This is a very new thing. This is my first time in a long, long time, years in the GM chair, and this is pretty much everyone at the table's first time at Candela Obscura. I said pretty much. It is everyone's first time at Candela Obscura. This is a very new thing, and we're documenting it for posterity, for folks to hear what it's like to go through this campaign in this new system, in this new world, in this new tabletop game that is fun and most of all spooky. So the way that a lot of things about this will be relatively similar to D&D. A lot of things will be pretty different. The storytelling aspect is similar. The dice aspect is what's pretty different. Also, this is very much as if we were hopping into the pages of a gothic horror novella, or like a spooky movie or something of that nature. In the sense of each campaign that we go on, or each arc, I should say, because each episode should be our story for that particular week that will ideally conclude in roughly 3 hours from now. I will start us off with a sort of prologue, a sort of setup scene, set the almost like if you're watching the prologue, reading the prologue in a book, or seeing like the opening scene of a movie that sort of sets the tone, sets the action and direction for that particular story. So I'll start each session with that to kind of set up what's going on, and then we'll transition us from that setup into our first scene involving all of you. So there will be a little bit of performance on my part for the beginning, and then we will glide into our time together as the Circle of Five. So let's get going. And if anyone has questions about gameplay or mechanics or any of that, of course, feel free to shout it out. You have a reference sheet that hopefully answers some of the basics, all that good stuff. It's been a hot minute since we went over character creation and all that, so totally fine. Any and all questions are welcome, and I'm sure that this is new for folks listening at home, so they'll appreciate any extra questions to learn more about the world. So, all right. So, join me as we take a trip back in time. Not just to 1907 when our story will take place, but we will actually move even further back. Centuries back, more than a millennia back. Actually, nearly 2 millennia back. More than 2 millennia back.
6 days.
The time is 200 years before the vast chasm ripped open. 200 years before Old Fair fell. 200 years before some unknown event eradicated civilization as we knew it, and eventually gave rise to what we now know as New Fair. The time is negative 200 Common Era, and we find ourselves within a hallway in Old Fair. 5 men glide down the hallway, walking with purpose. Their leader, clothed in dark purple robes, holds out a hand, and a man behind him places a dagger in said hand. As they walk down the hallway, guards block their path. They prepare their weapons. The men seem unmoved by this display. We fade past the guards, through the door they are guarding, into a magnificent hall. This is the Palace of the Watcher. We see an enormous golden hall, huge ceilings, ornate carvings, more guards line the walls, and up on an enormous throne sits Empress Iomine, ruler of Old Fair. Empress Iomine waits with apprehension, looking at, from her perspective, the other side of this scene we were first introduced to. As she watches the door, we hear the muffled commotion of weapons and some muffled voices. We can't quite hear exactly what's going on. The muffled voices turn to muffled yells, and then the muffled yells turn to muffled screams. And suddenly there's banging on the door. Lots of banging. The banging gets lighter, and then there is silence. The doors open. The 5 men glide into the hall. The lead man holds in his fist the decapitated head of the captain of the guards and throws this before the throne of Iamine. With a face filled with fury, this man screams, "Witch!" Iamine says, "You will watch your tongue in the presence of your empress." The man says, "You think magic has no bounds? That there is no limit to what should be done?" Iamine says, "I do not know of what you speak." The man scoffs and says, "Your quest to defy death will be the destruction of Oldfair." Iamine stands up at this point and yells, "Silence!" An automaton, an enormous figure of clockwork gears and mechanisms inside, emerges from the wall and marches towards this man, raising an arm, prepared to just obliterate this person. Without even looking at the figure, eyes fixed on Iamine, the man raises a glove, and the glove emanates a sort of purplish glow. The automaton pauses, and then returns to the wall. The man says, "I will not let you get away with this. You cannot get away with this." Iamine says, "There's nothing to get away from." "You will not become abridged," says the man. As he says this, one of the men behind him nervously taps his shoulder, and he ignores him. He says, "You have ruled for far too long, Empress Iamine. Today is the day your rule and your excess ends." The same nervous man has clearly had enough. He pulls the glove from the hand of the man. The man whips around. "Traitor!" he says. And as he says this, a second automaton, unnoticed at first, moves forward quickly, and with a quick backhand, slams this man with extraordinary force. The man flies across the room, kind of pivoting, spinning as he does like a rag doll. He hits the column, snaps in half with a loud crack, and hits the ground.
He snaps in half?
He does. He snaps in half,
This
hits
was
the ground.
Traitor guy, right?
This was the man who was previously gloved, yelling at Iamine.
Oh, okay, got
He's
it.
been degloved
Got it.
and now delived. He now lays on the ground in a pile of body parts. His dagger that he was holding sails through the air, spinning in slow motion. As it spins, it continues to spin as we rise up through the ceiling, up out of the palace of the Watcher. The dagger spins as we move not just away from Oldfair, but outside of time. And we move forward in time as this dagger spins, and it spins, and it spins, and it spins, until we now see it in the hand of a very different man, dressed very differently, sort of a rough, large coat. He has a kind of a raggedy, wide-brimmed hat, very unshaven. He's got kind of baggy pants, big baggy boots. This man is holding the dagger to the chin of another man. They are on a boat. The boat is quietly rocking out in the glass sea. And the man says, "And that was the end of Kellum, the High Alchemist. He had become far too arrogant, far too proud. He thought he could defy the Empress. He was very wrong. There are many artifacts of Oldfair that have been lost to time. Some have found their way into the hands of collectors, some into the hands of explorers, some into the hands of," and then the man that he has his dagger to cuts him off, says, "a pirate." The man smiles. He says, "You can call me what you will. That will not spare you." And he slits the man's throat. The man falls to the ground. Another man behind him says, Captain. Captain turns and looks at him. He says, "Yes, Private." The man points. And the captain looks kind of past the ship and out into the water. He says, "Ah, yes, our next target." And we look to see a on the horizon near the coastline, a twinkle of lights as a delightful coastal cruise ship is sailing along the edge of the coast. And then the captain, under his breath, he looks to the sailor beside him, and wiping the blood of the dagger onto his coat, he says, "Prepare to board." Now we drift across the water from this scene. We drift closer to the coastal cruiser, this cruise ship. Merry, happy sounds of partying and delight. And then we pan down to the base level of this ship. In a private room, locked for a private meeting, in which a man with a very tall black hat is meeting with 4 individuals. This is the Circle of 5. They're being briefed on their incoming mission. So the man before you is Declan Picard. Declan is your lightkeeper. He is a relatively average-looking man. He's got, again, like a tall black hat that's pulled very tight around his scalp. And he has a case file out in front of you. And the case file has some sketches of a ethereal figure, ghost-like thing. Just sort of looks humanoid vaguely. Declan says, the residents of Seasway have reported this figure in their peripheral vision. Hard to get a clear focus on this creature, but whatever it is, it seems to be causing dismay and havoc to the people of Seasway. It seems as if they're not sure if they're all going collectively crazy or if there is in fact something stalking them. And so it seems high time that we investigate exactly what's going on in Seasway. Now, I know this is not the first time you have all encountered stranger beings, but if there are any questions that you have about this entity or descriptions that the people of Seasway have given, now is the time. We are almost to the town.
Is there a particular type of a personage that is seeing this figure? Is something drawing it in that we know of?
Excellent question, Thaddeus. At this point, it doesn't seem so. It seems as if, whether it's a child, at first the children were the first to see it, and they would report this to parents who, in perhaps typical fashion, would laugh it off, scoff it off. But then the parents started to notice the corner of their eye, some movement, a figure. But then the moment that they turned to focus, this figure was not there. Now I do want, and as Declan is speaking, there is a commotion on the deck. Here's some yelling, some kind of scuffling, and then
That's weird.
Probably nothing. And then Declan kind of clears his throat, and he continues. It was actually the bartender in Seasway, then and an alarm bell starts to go off on deck. Perhaps we should finish this discussion after we see what that's about. Declan goes to the door, and right as he opens the door, he flags down a ship worker who was starting to run by. Is everything all right? The ship worker kind of turns and seems to kind of be wild-eyed and said, "There's been some sort of accident." He keeps running. Declan looks over his shoulder and gestures to y'all. Let's go above board. Something's up. So you all follow Declan. Does anyone not want to follow Declan?
McCoy goes and rubs the bridge of her nose and then grabs her back and follows.
Nice. Yes, so you all move upstairs to the top of the coastal cruiser, up to the main observation deck. And you look out at what everyone else seems to be watching. And off in the distance, you see another ship fully engulfed in flames. Yeah, there are crew members. There are people standing by, watching out over the deck at this scene. What do y'all do?
How far away is the boat? Or the ship?
And
is it like a similar size to ours or a smaller one?
It looks smaller. It looks older. It looks a little ramshackle. It is probably 200, 300 meters from y'all. Still decently far off, but...
Is there any other ships?
Mm-mm.
Just that one on fire? Ours?
I think I would run closer to the edge and begin looking in the water, see if anyone, since we don't know how long ago that happened, if anyone has started swimming towards us, and if so, then look for something to throw down or try and help any survivors if they've made it this far.
Yeah.
I know the ship has lights and stuff.
Absolutely. There doesn't seem to be anything close. You can hear some faint screaming from the direction of the boat, but other than that, there's just a lot of people kind of looking in horror. You can hear someone whisper to someone, "That boat was headed right towards us," but everyone is just kind of watching this flaming boat.
As a little brief introduction of Thaddeus as well, he is like 64 years old in this like heavy pea coat, long white beard, unkempt white hair, and he just kind of rushes up besides Ox and puts a hand over his shoulder and just goes, "Ox." Oh, wait, it's not his voice. "Ox, my boy here. Let us watch what our military folk do and let them lead us into however we should best respond." And he just kind of gets protective of you being by the edge of the ship.
This is a great moment, and thank you on that, Thaddeus. Ox, what's the general look and vibe of the man that Thaddeus has just run up to protect?
Ox is wearing a leather jacket that is definitely worn, but treasured because it's been with me on lots of adventures and everything. So it has woolish coat, if you think of like old military type fighter pilot jackets, that sort of thing. And then also different types of hats throughout, whether it's a newsboy hat or a fedora or something like that. I'll always have some sort of hat to be wearing as well. And then a pocket watch that I often check to see what time it is, but also very fidgety, so it's a comfort thing as well.
Florence kind of cuts a look at Thaddeus like, and then she turns to Wade and says, "Well, how about you find the captain, see if they've spotted any other ships, anything like that." And as she says that, then she kind of like pats Wade on the shoulder. And as I say that, I pull out a pair of dog tags. And I move up next to Ox and Thaddeus, and I'm holding them over the water, and I'm observing them. And they are a bleed detector.
Okay.
They are the dog tags that I took from the soldier that in my backstory, which... So I am observing them closely to see if they start to tinkle against each other and spin.
Okay, so if there was bleed presence, then they would kind of move around, they would cling together.
Yes, and they would get very cold.
Okay. The moment that your hand kind of passes the edge of the railing, they start to get almost like burning cold. Like it just like really, like the bleed is emanating from this fire in a way that, like getting too close is like, even from this distance, it's like, oh wow, this is very cold. And you're actually, because of that, it got so cold that you were going to take a mark of bleed.
What do I do? Oh, I put that here. Okay. I jerk my hand back and I drop the dog tags to the ground, and then I am holding it and kind of crouched, and I look up at you guys and I say, "It's bleed."
And right as McCoy says that, you see the flaming ship lifts out of the water and flies towards land. It is actually flying now. If you watch this trajectory, it is in the direction of a small town with a lighthouse on the edge. You would know this is Seasway that this ship hurtles towards. And as it flies, you hear the screams get louder. You see little dark specks in the night. I don't know if I said it was night, but it's night. Dark specks in the night falling out of this ship as it kind of flies, like little toys falling out of this ship. Some of them are on fire. Some of them are not on fire. All are screaming as they are kind of hurled to and fro as this ship flies through the air and crashes in a ball of fire and wood. Very distant crash, obviously, as y'all are watching from this ship, but you kind of hear this explosion as it hits the deck.
You said it was dropping flaming toys that were screaming?
Sorry,
It was humans,
the
but they
people
look
looked
like
like
toys.
little
Oh,
toys.
okay.
Yeah. Like as if twere toys.
Got
yes.
it.
Is bleed like contagious to the point where we would need to respond moving back or moving in to help? Like, would that...
It radiates, so it has a radiation to it. Yeah. So you know that getting too close to that fire was risky.
Okay.
So
I immediately pull a bandage out of my soaked in a tincture, and I'm kind of wrapping it while I'm staring at the town, and I say, "Damn it!" as the ship crashes into the town, and I have a look of just fury and anger, and I turn to you guys and I say, "We have to get there now." And I say, "That's my hometown."
Make a survey roll.
Okay.
Is Declan still with us?
Yes. He's watching all of this.
Does anybody want to... I don't know, that's metagaming. But if anyone wants to help me...
What's your action rating in survey?
I have 1.
Okay.
So I can roll 1 dice, or I can spend a drive to increase my chances. I do have 6 drives in intuition. So maybe I'll spend 1 to roll.
Sure. Roll with 2 die.
Yes,
Great.
and it's not gilded, so I don't add. Okay, I got a 4 and a 3.
Okay.
So I would take the 4.
Yes.
The highest.
Yes. Okay, so a 4 is going to be a mixed success.
Okay.
So you, as you're watching the ship, as you kind of pan the ship, they're right on the edge of your periphery. There is something. But you look back and there's nothing anymore. And it's hard to tell what even was on the edge of your peripheral vision. But you saw some kind of movement where the ship was originally before it kind of flew through the air. Something else was there. But then as you turned, then there's nothing there.
Did you see that?
See what?
And I lean over the rail. I thought I saw something in the water, but I don't see anything now. Okay. We need to find the captain. We got to get to land as soon as possible. Do you agree? And I'm kind of... So McCoy is in her 40s. She has blonde hair streaked with gray. She wears gender-appropriate clothing for the time, but except that her skirts are parted like pants for running, and she carries a medical bag strapped around her waist. And she has a military bearing, but she always looks tired for some reason, and is very grouchy, but just very grouchy. And so she says, "Well?"
Can I intensely look at the area that she is looking and pointing towards for having seen something, and just looking for any remnant magical sources or anything that's just kind of lingering within the area?
Make a survey roll.
Okay. I have 2 shaded in for that. So it's just the 2
You would
rolls.
do 2 dice, and then if you want to add any drive, and then anyone can spend a drive if they so desire to help you out.
And you don't have a diamond like gilded do you?
I have 1 diamond in this area too.
Okay, so if the diamond is on survey, then that is a gilded die.
Oh, got it. No, I don't have that. Sorry.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. Remind me how drives work again. When do we get those back?
So the way that you get your drives back is if you roll a 6 on a gilded die.
Okay.
Or no, actually just whatever the gilded die is. If you take the number
gilded
on
die,
the
right.
gilded die, so it's not necessarily a 6. It's just
We gonna use a drive. We gonna drive it.
Drive it.
Wow.
Thaddeus says.
Is that all threes?
What is
3,
that?
3, and a 1.
Oh, wow.
3, 4, 9.
That's all right.
Okay. Yeah, I will say that. Yeah, I mean, you don't notice anything apart from. I mean, what would be impossible to not notice is that there are less fire. Like, it seems like the trajectory of hurling through the air extinguished a lot of fire. Like, the fire doesn't seem to be like unnaturally continuing. Like, there's kind of an explosion, but a lot of what's scattered is kind of smoldering now.
I was thinking about looking for a boat, but I realized if we like got a boat and put it in the water, that'd be probably dangerous. Okay, so we do need to find the captain.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and turn and go straight for the what's it called?
The
Bridge.
captain's house.
The captain's house. Yeah, I'll go to the bridge to find the captain and see if he's,
Great.
what his plan is.
I'll follow Wade.
And try to figure out. If
Yeah,
we
I'll
can
go
get there.
as well.
Can you real quick describe for us this man that everyone is now following to the captain's house?
Yeah. So Wade is a early 30s man with a little bit of a mustache, somewhat of a stubble of a beard. He is in a just darker attire, and he's wearing just a black pea coat, wool pants, gray wool pants, and a white shirt on top. Just a very casual looking man. Nothing stands out. Nothing. Just a very plain man.
Great.
Before we run, I'm using part of the bandage, scoop up the dog tags and put them back into my satchel.
Cool. As y'all are walking, Declan pulls out a vial from his coat pocket. It's just like a liquid that seems to have a little bit of something glimmering in the liquid. He downs it as he walks with you, kind of winces a little bit, and kind of adjusts his hat and keeps walking with you as you all walk towards the captain's house.
Have I seen that before? Recognize what he's drinking?
Yes. So these are little vials of gold shavings that Declan keeps on his person.
Goldschlager.
Goldschlager. Yeah.
Casual.
Yeah.
Is this alchemy?
It is not alchemy. It is people disagree about it, but there are certain factions of Candela Obscura that believe that gold protects you from bleed.
Okay.
And then there are other people that don't think that drinking gold is worth the risk in case it doesn't help you with bleed.
Got it.
But as light keepers are often not in the field as much because of high exposure to bleed, they think it's worth the risk. So you all go knock on the captain's house's door. Or Wade does. I guess you're leading the charge. Yeah. It takes a minute, but I should have, I honestly should have looked up what boat terms are called. A captain's helper comes to the door.
First mate.
Yeah, first mate comes to the door.
Wait, so are we at are we at the captain quarters or are we at the bridge? In where the helm is?
The bridge. I'm assuming that's where you wanted to go.
Yeah,
where he
I
is.
would assume that's probably where he is. Usually the captain's quarters is right next to the bridge.
I do know what a bridge is from Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Boom.
Okay, so you go to the bridge, and first mate comes in. I'm realizing now how wildly difficult it'll be to keep this spooky. Yeah. Comes to the door. Yes?
We're looking for the captain. Do you know where he is?
He's very busy, but he's trying to get us to port as soon as possible.
I push my way in.
Okay, hello. And then,
Which port?
Seasway! That's the sound of the captain over there at the wheel. I don't know what's going on, but we gotta get to port.
There's fire out in these waters, and I don't want to be out when there's this level of risk involved.
Is there any way we can help?
Do your best to calm the passengers. I'll get us home safely. It'll be okay.
We'll do.
Great.
Because that's where you wanted to go, right?
Yeah.
Great.
As we're kind of walking out of that room, Thaddeus just kind of quietly to himself, but it's enough so y'all can hear it. Hardly a time to keep people calm. Our sins are chasing after us. He's just kind of fidgeting down to himself now and in his head.
Well, I'm still going to try. And she moves off into the crowd, looking for someone to comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an illumination key.
Whoa!
So,
Nice.
My intent is to do that.
Love
I
that.
can act it out or just assume that I did.
Yeah.
However.
So, great. So you are gonna walk up to. How is it phrased again?
It says comfort someone.
Great, nice and broad. Love that. You walk out, and I would say make a read roll.
Okay. This is a gilded action for me, and I have 2. So I'm gonna roll and hopefully get one of my. Actually, I don't think I've spent any cunning, so it doesn't matter, does it?
No.
I can, but it's still gilded,
Yeah.
I guess. Okay. I got a 6.
A 6 on the gilded?
A 6, a 4, and a 5.
Well, that's pretty neat, but doesn't it, now if you didn't have a drive, if you had spent a drive in that category, you could have gotten that back and had your full success, which is great.
Yeah.
Looking around,
I
you
just-
s-
Gilded 6.
Yeah. I didn't spend any drives in this category though.
that's okay. You see everyone's kind of watching, kind of standing around, but you do see one younger woman who is kind of standing by the board, and she kind of is breathing a little bit heavier and just seems particularly agitated.
I go over to her and I tap her on the shoulder, and I say, maybe I can see that she's going into the stages of like hyperventilation. So I kind of like turn her around, not a great bedside manner. I slap her. No, I hold her and I say, all right, look at me, do what I do, breathe with me. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we breathe in and exhale. Okay, again, and we do it again, and I do it several times, and then I say, come over here, and I say, hold on to this railing, and I say, it's going to be okay. What's your name?
Cassidy.
Okay, Cassidy, what I want you to do is I want you to fix your eyes on this railing right here. Just keep your eyes there and keep breathing like I told you to, okay?
Okay.
All right, you're going to be okay, Cassidy.
Okay.
And I pat her.
It's my first time on a boat.
Wow, well, they're not all like this, I can tell you that.
I hope not. Thank you.
You're doing great, Cassidy. And then I leave her there and head back to the group.
All right. You evolve into Raichu. No.
Wow!
So if you want to just mark that on...
McCoy!
yeah, you can... Yeah, however you want to, just like check it out, cross
yeah,
it.
okay.
Just, again, I think we all are doing this. Just always be writing with pencil because there's a lot of erasing and marking, blah, blah,
I'll
blah.
put, okay.
Yeah, you can just indicate. And again, just to reiterate to everyone, she just completed the illumination key. These are kind of guideposts to your character that just kind of help you see, all right, if I don't really know how to roleplay, if I'm kind of deer in headlights, what's going on. These are just things to try to accomplish as your character over the course of this session that we're in. Completed illumination keys are how we level up the circle, can get more things, we can heal ourselves, all that kind of stuff.
So mine says use violence of action. Would pushing my way into the cabin complete that goal at all?
Use violence as action?
Of action?
Violence
That's how
of
it says.
action.
I don't really know what that means.
Violence of action.
That's a weird way to say it.
I mean, the way that I pictured just saying violence of action, I think that you could argue that
Like
for sure.
combat or...
Yeah, I mean, like you were forceful, you knocked your way in.
Yeah.
I'm generous. I think that's reasonable.
Generous
So,
man.
Yeah. I'm a benevolent GM, and it's our first time, so
Such a one.
yeah.
The way I did it was I put a bunch of boxes and I wrote 1 under the first one, and I'll just check it.
That's a good idea.
Nice.
I'm gonna look around and see if I can find some deckhands, because I'm assuming there's probably some other like sailors out on the deck, just kind of wandering around.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to find a bunch of them to assist us with trying to keep everyone calm and at least try to get everyone back inside to where they're not on the deck where potential bleed's going to come over.
Great. Looking specifically for a deckhand.
Yep. I also, I'm envisioning a group of deckhands just running around everyone. I want to keep at least one so I can kind of question them as they were on the deck as the event was happening.
Good deal. All right, make a survey roll.
I have no survey. Okay. So
if you don't have survey, what you can do is either you get people to help you, or you spend drive, or you roll 2 dice and you take the lower result. And I will say, this is another thing that I should be doing more of, is kind of narrating the stakes. This is a low stakes roll. You're just looking around a room. So if it's high stakes, that's when you want to think more about, like, I should spend drives, I should get help, because you could actually get hurt. You're not going to hurt yourself looking around.
You don't know that.
That's true. That's a great point.
Well, I'll just roll the 2 die, and I'll take the lower of the 2.
Ah, 6 and a 1.
That is the most unluckiest roll.
Wow.
All right, what happens?
Yeah.
Am I blind?
You don't see deckhands, but in your peripheral, there's a ghost hurtling towards you that kills you. No, just kidding. No. So...
Trip!
Yeah, you are so focused on looking for a deckhand that you slip just a little bit on the deck. You don't fall off the ship.
You just slip a little bit.
Yeah, you just slip, and that's it. You just look a little silly looking for people. Yeah, it's okay. Worse things have happened.
I'm gonna get up from my slip and say that I'm okay, but there are a little bit of tears in my eyes.
Good. That's right. It's been a trying day. Okay. Anything else? Want to do any active things with the people on board?
Do I see any kids? Like,
there are a few.
7 or like around that age, probably.
Not a lot. There are a few kids. They're all like in parents' arms, kind of clinging to pant legs. It doesn't seem there's any like kid on their own in the craziness.
Okay. That was kind of where my mind went to initially.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, if everyone's good with that, then we'll say that the boat keeps moving. The cruiser makes its way over to Seasway. It docks. As best they can, the deckhands kind of in an orderly fashion try to get people off the boat, calmly, orderly. At this point, the sun is just beginning to come up. There's enough time from when you're out at sea to when you got to sea that there's you can see there's a lot more kind of commotion in the town of Seasway. It's very bustling. Clearly, it did not go unnoticed that a flaming ship hurtled through the sky and exploded on the beach. So a lot of people are out and about. I would say that it probably took about an hour for y'all to get from the boat to Seasway, because y'all are already relatively close. But yes, so y'all are now disembarking. What do you do?
In the time, Thaddeus was just trying to reflect on everything that was going on. He would have been thinking back to a lot of his studies, just trying to recall if there have been activities, actions, or anything in the regular life of people that is associated with some type of big blip of magic or a presence like this. Anything that is like associated with that might have instigated a phenomena like this.
I think beyond there have been all kind, like the Glass Sea. There are certain points that people know are just treacherous. This area in particular did not necessarily have a reputation for being dangerous.
Okay.
So while just like ship tragedies are not uncommon and are even like relatively common in certain areas, this was not one of them. So this does seem out of the ordinary.
Yeah. Reflecting on that, Thaddeus would say it is a bit odd that this incident has occurred in this location. Typically, as it's been captured over time, there have been weak points across the city where phenomena are likely to happen. This is out of the bounds of any of our research, or at least what consistent paying attention to things like this has provided. This is odd. This is strange.
Would we know the name of the Seasway Lightbringer?
The Seasway Lightbringer?
Because there is one, right? At the lighthouse.
You would not, but Declan would.
Okay. I would, as we're, moving off the ship, I would be walking really briskly and focused on the ship, and I would say to Declan, Everhollow Lighthouse, the Lightbringer there. Do you know them?
Yes, I do. A woman by the name of Temperance. I don't know if she is here at this time, but I can certainly find out.
Would I not have known her being from the town?
Y'all may have crossed paths before, but it is
Not in the organization.
yeah, it's not in the organization necessarily.
Okay. Gotcha.
Lightkeepers are very recluse.
And I would say, up to you, Declan, but, I think we're going to need all the help we can get here. And I'm looking towards the ship. And I turn to the party and I say, well, I say we try and save as many as we can.
I take off running with my feet in the water. So close enough to see into the shadows of the darkness to see if there's any bodies or unconscious people who may look like they, could be saved or whatever. But my main trajectory is obviously towards the boat, which I imagine is still smoldering, but maybe not engulfed.
Cool. Great. So you head towards the wreckage. As you get closer, it's gnarly. There are a lot of bodies floating. There are remnants of what used to be people, not as fully formed, kind of scattered around, kind of burnt and mangled, and it's a very gnarly image. You start to notice that there are officers of the periphery that are on the scene. This is the New Fair police force, and they're just trying to keep people away right now, and they're kind of trying to create a perimeter. So, can you? I'm gonna say that one of them looks over and sees you coming, and holds up a hand and says, "Do you have clearance to be here?"
I saw the ship catch fire in the water and wanted to see if I could be of help.
Certainly. A lot of people saw the ship catch fire. If you do not have clearance to be here, I'm sorry, I can't let you pass.
I turn away with full intent of finding a way to sneak past.
Nice. Okay. Great. Is everyone else following Ox?
Do I see any way to sneak past?
Oh, you're at an open beach. There's just kind of officers doing the whole, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. So if you try to time it, you could maybe... obviously this guy's watching you. There's nothing to hide behind, per se. But maybe if you catch the moment right, you could slip past someone.
Yeah.
Or...
I might try and wade into the... Is the boat fully on land, or is some of it still in water?
It's pretty much in pieces. There's nothing large left of this boat.
Yeah.
It's pretty destroyed when it hit the ground.
Okay.
I'm going to try to sway.
Okay.
I'm going to try to persuade a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm going to go up to this officer and just begin to talk to him.
Okay.
I'm explaining to him just a little bit further of my, of the credentials that I have, of the expertise that we have, and the supernatural phenomenon that we have witnessed.
Okay.
I show, so when you get bleed damage, does it leave marks on your, hands?
Yeah, that's up to you. Do you have any sort of remnants of bleed on you?
No, but McCoy does.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to show the officer McCoy's hand to indicate, hey, we're the real deal. We're trying to figure out what's going on and just try to help.
Okay.
As best we can.
How do you react to being guided by the hand over to...
I'm just grabbing your hand at this point.
Yeah.
I think that as you started to talk about the supernatural stuff, I think I would have tried to grab your shoulder and be like, but maybe I was too late. And as you were talking about the supernatural stuff, I kind of look at you and then I go, and I take off the bandage and I say, Lieutenant Florence McCoy, 4th Battalion, and show her and say, I can confirm what the captain here has been saying. Captain Anderson here has been saying, we're here to investigate this incident, and if you would let us pass, we would really appreciate it. So I would like to aid him in swaying.
Okay. So what? You're gonna make a sway roll. What is your rating in sway?
I have 1.
Okay, so she's aiding you, so you have 2 now. Is there any? Does anyone else want to try to do something?
I'm not trying to force mechanically. This is something that Thaddeus would do.
Okay.
But I also would just step up and be like, and as tenured professor at Briarbank College, we are here to formally do some studies for the sake of knowledge. I'm just like add on a little bit of an extra.
McCoy's
I like the image of like y'all are all piling up on this officer, and then Ox is like tiptoeing away.
Hey, I mean, this is a great distraction.
That's true. Hey, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
I'm
So,
watching.
go ahead and
3 now? Do you have sway?
So I spend a drive.
Do
Well,
play.
Were you
Well,
saying
no.
that you were just...
I was up to him.
yeah.
I
So
was just-
he would
okay.
spend a drive from his cunning to
Okay.
aid you.
Okay.
The both of you would spend a drive from cunning if y'all are aiding, if that's what you want to do.
Yes.
I see. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So now you have 3 dice.
Okay. I have 3 dice to play.
And just as a little sidebar for you watching at home and you all at the table, you can have a max of 6 dice for any future roll, just so you know.
4,
boy.
1, and a 2.
Okay.
Well, 4 is not bad.
The officer's kind of looking between the 3 of y'all, like, all right, whatever. You got 5 minutes. Just make it quick. All right.
I thank the officer, and we proceed forward.
I sneak in with them.
Make a sway roll.
Do I need to?
Yes, you do.
If I have 1, do I just roll 1?
Yeah. Well,
Well, here, can I use my focus, which is inspecting and analyzing, and try and find a way to sneak past? Is that more realistic than swaying?
I think inspect is it's a little bit. Survey would maybe
Or is
be
that more like looking
accurate.
at something?
I think survey would be a little fit more for this situation.
Okay. And then I just roll 1 since I have 1 in it.
Yeah.
Hey!
Hey, all right. You saw that their clump of 3 people was the perfect vessel for your entry, and so you get right past.
Also, would I think that would count as aiding an ally?
It would count as aiding an ally.
Excellent.
Great work. McCoy is taking care of her homework.
Boom.
That's great. Okay. So, on the beach, you see some officers are starting to, for the more formed people on the beach, start to see if there's any sort of identification or kind of seeing if they can, any sort of identifying features or whatever on this sort of wreckage. A stranger sight that you see closer to the coast is there are a long line of figures. Most of them are robed in red, like a sort of like deep red color. A lot of them have hoods over their faces. It has a single slit where their eyes are, but other than that, they're fully robed in red. And they are bent over some of the. Looks like they're kind of like methodically going over the various people that they can get to. They're doing something. Y'all are still too far away to see what's going on, and there seems to be another man overseeing this.
All right, look, now that we've gotten through, there's a couple of things we need to take care of. Ox and I are going to rummage through some of these, those that were lost in this attack, see if we can find any objects that were left behind, see if we can find any remnants of the bleed. McCoy, why don't you maybe figure out, I don't know, maybe you can talk with the guards and see if they've learned of anything interesting. And those red-robed people, I think we should be really interested in them as well, if you could get some information out of them. We split up and sort this out. We've only got a couple of minutes.
All right, but then I'm checking the victims. And then I stomp off.
We're gonna cover the. Okay.
I cut you off.
Yep. I just agree, and I go towards the hooded people.
Okay.
The Red Hood.
The Red Hood. You would. It's not a mystery what they are. You know that these are members of the Ascendancy that are
cool.
over here at the bodies.
Would I use focus or survey to look at things that I find?
What are you looking for?
Items that may have washed up. I mean,
Yeah. That's specific. That'd be focus. I think that makes sense.
Okay. I have a diamond in that.
Yeah.
Gilded, baby.
I have 2 and a gilded, so we should be good gilded. Oh, the gilded's a 2. This is a 5 now.
The gilded is a
2.
Okay.
Have you spent any?
No.
So you're good. You don't
So
have
you
Should I just take the 5?
You would want to take a 5, yeah. Cool. And remind me what you were looking for. Sorry.
Just inspecting items to see if anything is suspicious. Like probably things that aren't as personal. Like I wouldn't be looking at wallets or like whatever. Just looking around to see if there are any specific items that may have. I don't know. Yeah.
What you are seeing is it's sort of confusing because there are a lot of miscellaneous items on board. It seems very random what they are. They all seem to be relatively high value, like very nice, like watches or like pocket watches and like candlesticks and like various items that seem like they are high value but not necessarily consistent, like field, if that makes sense. There's kind of random valuable items.
Do any of them seem like historic, like artifacts, or like do I pick out anything that seems rather old or of a significance of value more than just monetary, but history as well?
Nothing particularly historical. It looks as if someone's like enormous jewelry drawer just exploded, or like their safe where they would keep their valuables just blew up on the beach. Is more what it looks like.
What I'd like to intake from this is like taking notes on the remnants of magic that was here, the impacts on some of the victims of it, just trying to really collect like what happened here that was abnormal, and then what were the effects of the abnormal. That anything about that's immediately around.
What you are seeing is, well, let me say this. Let's do another, I'll say survey for this one. What's your survey?
Survey's 2, focus 2 is gilded, sense 2.
Nice. Do a focus. That's specific enough. I think you're looking at specific. You're analyzing the people.
I will all 5s, so I'll take the gilded 5 and get my drive back.
Yeah, you will.
That's
Take that
awesome.
drive back, baby.
Treat.
So there's nothing overly out of the normal, honestly, about this. It does almost look like you just kind of walked into a horrible but natural disaster, except that a lot of the faces, like you can't necessarily know if this is maybe magically or supernaturally done, or if this is just the nature of death, but some of the faces do seem frozen in like terror.
Okay.
Wade, you're heading over towards the Ascendancy.
Yes. Yep. I'm going to not necessarily quietly, but just kind of slowly approach them as not to startle them as they are inspecting the bodies. I'm going to, once I get over there, I'm just simply clearing my throat. I'm going to try to see if they're all spread out. I'm just going to go to one. If they're all kind of clustered together, maybe one's spread out, I'm going to go to the one that's just by themselves.
Okay.
To kind of just quickly get a synopsis of what's going on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you approach the nearest member of the Ascendancy. This robed figure is bent over one of the corpses. They have turned the corpse up onto their back, and they are inserting a contraption to its mouth. It almost looks like, if you can picture like the cliche of like really bad braces where you have like an exterior thing. Yeah. They're fitting that into the mouth, then they are cranking that so that it sort of. Yeah. So
Wade passes out.
walks up, takes a U-turn, walks up. Yep.
Okay.
They are forcing the mouth open, kind of holding it open.
Okay.
This is relatively common knowledge of. This is it is new fair belief that your soul, that like high belief in the soul in the new fair world, and so the belief is that those who are seen as blessed in the eyes of the ascendancy are buried with their mouths closed, so their soul stays with their body and they're not lost in the afterlife.
Yep.
For those that are seen as far from the ascendancy or impure, dirty, whatever it may be, they are intentionally left with an open mouth so their souls will leave their bodies and become lost in the afterlife. And so it's seen as a dishonor, kind of like a one final FU in death to kind of keep them out. So this is called the rictus rite, is what this would be called. And it's sort of this post-demise.
And what, like, traditionally, who would be disposed of this? Yeah, who would be disposed of this?
It would be typically like criminals, people that either are seen as like low class, or like full on like criminals, like they like were lawbreakers, or they were felons, they were in prison. Like if someone was killed on death row or something, then they would have the rictus rite performed on them.
Can I analyze the body to see if there's any indication of this is prison robes, whatever there might be, just to kind of get a general sense of what the ship was actually carrying?
Yeah, do a focus roll.
All right. 1 and a 5.
Okay. Cool. Were either of those gilded?
No.
Okay, good.
Oh, dang it. I should have wrote it. I should have rolled one.
I'm a benevolent DM. If you have a gilded die on there, then roll that. Roll a gilded one.
A 5.
All right. You can get a drive back in that category if you had spent anything.
I had not.
All right. Well, still, great work. Good work, Wade.
Dude.
Cool. So, this person seems, it's just like a man in his 40s.
Okay.
Unshaven, seems pretty like they hadn't showered in a while.
Okay.
Kind of unkempt clothes. No overly like discernible markers. As they're forcing a jaw open, you see a lot of gold teeth.
Okay. So there are poor status.
But other than that, nothing like to kind of like set them apart.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to just clear my throat, try to do something non-startling to alert of, of this ascended that I am behind them, actively just wanting to ask them questions. That was me clearing my throat.
Yeah. Priest looks up. Pauses.
Good evening. I am here just asking you a few quick questions. Do you mind if I take a moment?
The priest kind of looks back at the body and then up at you, and then continue, my child.
Sweet. So I am just asking a few questions to see exactly what happened here. If you know anything about who these people were, about these bodies, about the ship in general, if there's anything that the ship was known to be carrying from any scripts or anything, manuscripts that you might have found through your process of going through the bodies.
The priest or the acolyte says, "This is a pirate, and pirates deserve a criminal's death."
I respond with fair. That's fair enough. I then just asked the acolyte, is there any weird items or anything that you might have found in while you were searching through these bodies of the pirates?
We are continuing to survey the bodies to see if there's anything that could benefit the ascendancy, but at this time, we have found nothing.
Have you noticed anything unnatural?
All right, make a sway roll. Say that you are testing their patience.
Uh-oh.
A 1.
Oh no.
All right.
Good.
You slip.
Slipping is really embarrassing.
In the
You
sand.
slip into the open mouth.
It's way more embarrassing than the first one was. Yeah. Okay, so the priest doesn't even respond. The priest just kind of looks back. And then now you hear a different clearing of the throat behind you. And you turn around and the man that you saw kind of surveying, also robed, but this man was kind of overseeing. No hood.
Is there a reason that you are disturbing the work of the Ascendancy?
I respond with saying, I'm an investigator, a simple man trying to discover what went on here.
Are you? No man is simple. What is your name?
My name is Bruce.
Make a sway roll.
A 3.
Okay.
He opens your mouth.
So he nods slowly.
Out to the right size.
Bruce. There is no simple. There is impure, and there is pure. Which would you say you are, Bruce?
Pure.
The grace of the Mother guide you. Please leave.
Okay, I turn. I feel there's not much else I can do to this one. I'm going to turn and try to rendezvous with my fellow Circle of the Five.
Okay.
Is he watching me pretty harshly after this whole thing? I mean, what is his general vibe?
Just seems pretty resolute. Just don't try my patience anymore.
Yeah, don't try to bother what they're doing.
Yeah. Get going, Brucey boy.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go back. I'm not gonna go back to you because my sway rolls have been garbage. I'm just going to rendezvous with Ox and Thaddeus.
Sure.
Try to help them find some stuff.
Cool.
As I continue looking through the items and just recognize that it does appear to just be valuables, I remember what McCoy said on the boat about thinking that she saw something in the water. And so my attention has gone from the ground to the horizon to see if there's anything maybe happening where we came from, an aura, whatever, that could possibly be out there.
Yeah, make another survey roll.
Four.
Elmo, sorry. Cool. So as you are scanning the horizon, you don't see anything for a few moments, but then suddenly you see in your periphery what could be a person. It's hard to tell when it's in the periphery, but it's something upright, it's something humanoid, and it's something that's very quickly moving toward you.
From the water or on the land? Okay. I turn towards it.
All right, you look towards it, and it doesn't look like there's anything there anymore. And the experience of that was very startling, and it was very upsetting. So you're going to take a mark of brain.
Oh, jeez.
Is that consistent, if I'm remembering the order of things as well, with Declan's intro of this phenomenon that's been going on and whatever the presence or the being was that people were reporting? This is that experience?
Yes.
Okay.
I fall back into the sand and kind of brace myself looking towards it and just sit. Don't really say anything.
I run over to him, and if I need gear for this because it mechanically does something, fine, and I'll do that. Or if this is just for flavor, that's fine as well. I'll pull out a vial of the gold flake liquid type thing too, and I just be like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And then I'll hand it. Drink this. It'll keep you safe.
Cool. Can you mark the vial on your items?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, do you take a drink? What do you want to do with it?
I drink it.
Also cures COVID.
Don't listen to what anyone else says. This stuff is legit.
It's not just bleach.
Right at that moment, you hear a gentleman. and Declan is standing at the. He's looking at specifically the two of you. Wasn't a snub at McCoy.
No, I meant she still had a conversation to have. I think,
Gotcha.
but
Gotcha.
got it.
Yeah. Yeah, Declan's standing there, and Declan there's a woman beside him as well. And this woman has a another wide-brimmed hat, sort of like picture Kentucky Derby vibe, like a nice dress, a nice hat, some gloves, and she's got a parasol. She's kind of blocking the sun from her.
It's nighttime, so
It's morning.
Huh? It's morning now.
Oh.
The sun's coming up. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Declan kind of waves to y'all and gestures and says, "Oh gosh, I forgot her name already. Heavens to Betsy. Temperance. Temperance has news. Yeah.
Is Declan behind the police line or in front? Or
He's in front. It seems like the
I
police aren't doing anything about it.
What the heck?
I'll say that I would have seen.
Okay.
This and
If you
come
want
back
to finish your
over.
conversation, you certainly can. But that's just what's happening over there with them. What were you about to do? Remind me?
Well, I was gonna talk to the guards, quote unquote.
Okay.
But actually, what I would have done is I would have been stomping away from Thaddeus. I'd be like, talk to the guards.
Yeah. well, yeah. So I mean, this is all about like we're the spotlight as it rotates to different people. We can say this was happening kind of overlapping times. So
Okay.
Yeah.
what you're doing was happening during his attendancy thing and their thing at the
Okay.
coast. So
Do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Go and do that? Okay. So really, I would have stopped and kind of been, and I would have looked around to see, I want to find someone who is either investigating or I would be looking around the fringes, because this is my hometown, to see if I recognize any people that are gathered that maybe, I haven't been here in years, but maybe I could go talk to them and see, do I see anyone, what do I see in terms of the people that are nearby?
Yeah. You see again just kind of like a random assortment of townspeople. They're standing right at where the periphery is kind of saying stand back. And they're all kind of watching and gaping, and there is make a read roll.
Read roll.
Another
Okay.
read roll.
That is gilded for me.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, and I have spent one, so maybe I can get a bonus.
Nope.
That is a 1. Well, I could,
That's true.
but actually no, I want the 4.
Okay. All right. You are, as you're kind of observing the crowd, you see that there's one person that seems to almost be kind of scrubbing at their jacket, like they're trying to get something out of their jacket. And you are, that's what you see. What do you do?
Do I recognize them?
No, there's like a random townsperson that kind of seems a
Okay.
little ruffled.
I'm gonna walk over there in a way that I think is walking, but is actually stomping. And I'm gonna stomp over there,
Okay?
and I'm gonna say, "You there!" and walk
Yeah.
towards the man.
Yeah. Man sees you. No, not again. No, not another. Sorry. And then he turns and he starts to walk back into town.
And say, Sir, I have a question for you.
No, I've had enough random people bumping in, asking weird things. I'm not talking. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm gonna try and I want to convince them, and I'm gonna say, wow, so that's how your mother raised you, huh? Walking away from a woman in the sand. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
My mother raised me to know what boundaries are. Goodbye. And then he keeps walking into town.
I'm going to say, well, I noticed you're acting a little suspicious there. Just like, no, I don't say that. I say, oh, so I'm sure whatever rash you have no interest in having a doctor look at that, huh?
He keeps walking, and then at this point, one of the periphery officers kind of puts an arm out and says, "Ma'am, is there a problem?"
I say, okay.
It's like Declan's like turning around at the crew. McCoy's in prison.
arrested. I say, no problem, sir. I am a doctor, and I noticed a man who might have been injured in the crash, and he's not interested in me taking a look, so I was just trying to convince him out of my responsibility to care for the people.
Make a sway roll.
I'm so glad I'm not with you.
Okay. I'm gonna spend one. I feel like I'm being real fast and loose with these drives.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I won't.
I would say resources, are not
They
as
don't-
easily gainable after.
Yeah, they don't refresh very well, do they? Okay.
They don't.
Who needs it?
5.
All right. Okay, that's all fine and good, ma'am. I would just appreciate it if we didn't cause more of a scene, as there's already quite a scene. Carry on. And he walks away.
I say, yeah. And keep stomping after. How far is this guy away now?
Cool. So he's like turned a corner and he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's gone.
I
Now the
stopped-
people that he was beside are still there.
Okay. I'm assuming they're looking at this spectacle.
Yeah, they were
now.
watching.
And I say, and I like turn towards them.
Yeah.
And I say, do I recognize any of them?
No, just townspeople.
I walk up to them and I say the traditional Seasway greeting. I say, Heidi ho.
Heidi ho!
No. I say, ahoy there.
Ahoy!
That's good.
Oh, it's like aloha.
Ahoy! That's right.
And I'm trying to disarm them a little bit, and I come up to them and say, between you and me, that guy, do you know that guy? He seems a little shifty. I'm here investigating, and I wanted to ask him some questions, but as you saw, he ran off really rudely, right?
Oh, one of the women says, I think he's just a little frazzled. There, before the periphery or the ascendancy got here, one of the sailors, they kind of got up and went past him. He tried to ask if they were okay, and they bumped into him and kept moving, and the sailor seemed fine, but when he looked down, he was pretty covered in blood. It was pretty gross.
That man there was covered in blood.
Yeah, it was like the sailor bumped into him and just got a lot of blood on him, and so he's quite literally been standing here trying to scrub himself dry since that happened.
Where did this man the man that got the blood on him, where did he go? Is he still here?
It seemed like he went further into town. I think he was headed for the pub.
Okay, so just this is Rachel asking, just so I'm clear. There was a sailor who was covered in blood who staggered away, who hit this guy that I was harassing.
Yes.
Let's call it what it is. I was harassing him.
Yeah.
And he got blood all over him.
Yes.
So that guy's gone off, and they're saying this guy that had the blood is now going to the pub, potentially. The guy that was covered in
The
blood.
sailor bumped into him and then went for the pub.
Okay.
The man covered in blood was standing here until you harassed him.
And he's off to who knows where.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's decided the beach is not where he needs to be.
I say, do you think, I say, huh? Do you think this has anything to do with that ghost? Or not the ghost, I say, with the hallucinations people have been having? You see me fall. Did I see it?
No, I'd say that would have happened probably at this time.
Okay.
You probably would have seen me fall.
Okay.
You mean the ghost in the periphery? And then the man beside him says, we need a different name because they're the periphery. And we have periphery. And the ghost is in the periphery, but he's not in the periphery. Unless he's in the periphery. He could be a periphery. It could be and then kind of looks off and
Looks at his periphery.
yeah.
I say, anyway. Do you think there's a connection of some sort?
I don't know. I know that none of us have ever seen a ship fly through the air like that before.
Yeah, me neither.
Also,
I'm from around these parts.
I for one have not seen this peripheral vision that some of the other townspeople have been talking about, but I think stranger things have happened.
Well, this has been incredibly helpful. And I say, do I have a card? Can I say I have a card?
Yeah.
Or something? Okay, so I pull it out and I give her the card and I say, if you ever want someone to look at those arthritic knees, look me up. And I give her the card. And I stomp off.
Okay. And then, as you're saying that, you hear McCoy. And turning around, you see Declan walking up with Thaddeus and Ox. And is it cool to say that he maybe waved you down as he was passing by with the two of them?
Yeah.
Cool. So the rest of the crew, and then he has Temperance beside him. And he says, McCoy, this is Temperance. Temperance, McCoy. Temperance has a lead. If you want to follow us all to the pub.
I shake Temperance's hand. And I say, ahoy.
Ahoy, McCoy.
There it is.
Sorry. Spooky. I say, ahoy.
And she goes, oh. Yeah. All right. You all follow Temperance to the pub. The swaying sign is what's on a swaying sign in front of the pub. You walk into this pub, and you see a decently populated pub of people, except there does seem to be a wide berth given to one man who is sitting at the bar, kind of huddled over, not saying anything. And Temperance says, so this man came in earlier this morning. I believe he was a part of the incident. It's been a challenge to get a word out of him. My circle is on another assignment at this time. I would speak to him, but frankly, not knowing the situation, I'm not sure what level of bleed is involved, and I don't think it would be prudent for me to get too close at this stage in my career if you catch my drift. And she pulls one of her gloves just a little bit. She to show you that she has she lifts up her glove and there's nothing there. And she kind of pulls her glove back down over her hand and says, I've had a lifetime of bleed in me. I don't need more.
Well, Flores clearly wants to go check out if the man is wounded based on his blood. But she's kind of holding herself back, looking at you guys and Declan, kind of tapping her foot impatiently.
I think I would have stopped and sat on a curb or something if there's one outside, and just kind of fidgeted with my pocket watch, thinking and trying to figure out what the heck just happened.
What do you see, my boy?
What are elf eyes?
I probably would have told them, or no, maybe I've been quiet up until this point, and just brushed it off.
Yeah.
I saw the figure everyone's been talking about on the beach. I remembered what McCoy had said about something being in the water. And when I looked out, a figure was rushing towards me from my left side, and as I turned to see it, it was gone.
Florence says, my God, are you all right?
Physically, yes. Was a bit confusing. My mind feels quite fuzzy trying to wrap itself around what just happened.
This makes no sense. You're good with your life. You don't cause any trouble.
Florence says the side-eye thing to Thaddeus again. And then she grips Ox's shoulder and says, I'm glad you're all right. We'll talk later.
Thank you.
Then,
I almost wish I hadn't gave it my attention to see how close it would have gotten. I imagine that whenever anyone sees it, they turn to look, and that's when it goes away. So, if it happens again, I don't think I'll be paying it any mind.
Probably for the best.
We are the people who look when other people turn away. We need to stop this thing. We need to find out more. And then Thaddeus will stand up and just start walking over to the guy. With a very curious, like his tone shifts from very dire to this, to then he pulls out a little book. My sir, could you please, if you would, and then I'm walking very cautiously, but kind of like side step to kind of get into the front of his view. Look, I want to help you, and I want to take some notes and figure out how is it that we can learn from your experiences. And I just want to see if he's open to talking with me.
Okay. He doesn't give any sign one way or the other. He just kind of keeps sitting there, kind of. He's huddled down, bent over, looking almost down into his arms. Doesn't respond to you.
Okay. Look, if I get you a drink, if we can just sit down, maybe find somewhere quiet, would you talk to me?
I don't know what to do with it.
You don't know what to do with what?
I don't know what to do with it. And he kind of sits back and continues to look down at the table, and propped straight up on the table is a dagger. The reason that it's propped straight up is that the dagger is being held by a hand that is fully severed at the wrist. It's just kind of in a rictus holding this dagger, and it's just there, and kind of as he leans back, his whole front is coated in blood, and the hand it's stopped now over this time, but there's kind of a little pool stain on the counter.
Has this dagger been written about throughout history at all, or recognized as like any form of important piece?
Not to you, no.
Okay, got it. So I don't recognize this as okay. Kind of puzzled and looking that over and looking at him. I work with people who study these things and know what is best to do with them. I can take care of this for you.
It's the captain's dagger. I have to find the captain. I have to give it to the captain. I don't know what to do. I have to find the captain.
Can I analyze at this point the dagger?
Sure. Are y'all all in the space now, or who all has walked in?
I would have probably walked in with Thaddeus as a backup.
Okay.
For him not to go alone.
Okay.
So I want to analyze it.
Analyze. Focus roll. Enhance.
And then that is my guild action as well.
Not bad.
4, 1, and a 1.
Nice. 4 on the gilded.
Yep, 4 on the gilded.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Good deal. You are going to. How are you analyzing? What are you doing?
Just seeing it from afar, from my history with with artifacts such as these, I want to know if I potentially have seen this pass through at some point in time.
Okay, cool. It does not strike you necessarily. I will say that you do. It seems distinctly old. Okay. So you know from a life around people that would have been plumbing the depths of old Fred. This seems like it is likely that it's an artifact of some sort. Like it's not a new dagger by any means. As you're looking at it, the sailor kind of suddenly sees you kind of leaning in and gets very kind of hugs the hand a little bit and kind of like pulls it away and says, "This is for the captain. You can't have this. This is the captain's."
Florence or McCoy is gonna say, by the light, can't you see he's shell shocked, or whatever the word would be? Can you see he's shell shocked? And she's gonna kind of go up to him, kind of like, as if it was a spooked animal, and say, "Yes, for the captain, and the captain is here. This is Captain Wade Anderson, and he is here for the dagger. If you'll give that to him, we can take a look at your wounds and get you settled and make sure you're not about to bleed out, man."
The cat?
This is Captain Wade Anderson. What's your name?
What? You're gonna. All right, roll sway.
Okay.
You're gonna have to convince him he knows his name.
And when he says captain, he means captain of the pirate ship, not the captain of the ship we were on, right?
You don't know for sure, but it would
Okay.
seem that way. He
That's
seems
from the
pirate.
prologue.
He looks like all the people you found on the beach. So
Heavily implied.
Right. Yeah.
I'll help you with this way as well.
Okay. All right.
Does that take a drive from me?
yeah, you would erase a drive in that category.
Okay. I'm going to try. Well, I'll just pretend I took one of yours. So 3. Okay, we have 4.
4s?
Yes.
Okay. He doesn't look convinced. He's not leaving. He's not he's not like more protective, but he's just kind of frozen, like he doesn't know what to do. So you say, I'm Jonathan. I'm Jonathan. I'm the first mate. I'm Jonathan. I'm the first mate. And my name is Jonathan. And this is the captain's dagger. And I don't think that's the captain. I don't think... And now he's starting, like, as he continues to talk, he's starting to work himself back up and then kind of get possessive again and start to move back.
Okay, I can try something, but I don't want to cut anyone else off who wants to jump in and try. Or do something different.
But you're on it.
Okay. Alright, I'm going to try and... I want to avoid any kind of fight and try and calm him down is my goal.
Okay.
So I'm going to say... and then I'm going to say, Jonathan, I'm Lieutenant McCoy, and we're here to help you. And the captain has sent us. He is really concerned about you, soldier. I need you to buck up. I need you to focus. The captain needs you right now. And I'm going to say, the captain wants you to be okay, and he sent us here to help you. So I need to look at your wounds. I need to make sure you're okay, and you need to give this to this man here.
I don't think that man's the captain. I don't think... I have to find the captain, and he's going to get up, and he's going to start to move towards the door. What do you do?
Okay.
At that point, I'm going to block the door. Or honestly, I'm going to try to call Oxen inside.
Okay.
Quickly block the door.
Blocking the door?
As
Okay.
you stand in the way, Thaddeus is like, I'm not playing around with this anymore. This is dangerous, and you're going to give us that item now.
All right. He's gonna holding the hand. He's gonna, while holding the hand, holding the dagger, he's starting to kind of like point it at you.
Okay.
Like, stay back! Stay back! I have to find the captain. I have to find the captain. And everyone else in the pub is kind of getting uncomfortable. They're stepping back. They're kind of...
I have a sedative in my bag.
Okay.
That is, I'm going to say it's a needle. And
Okay.
I want to try and flank him and I'm going to kind of hold the needle up to you guys and be like, in a way, I'm trying to make sure you guys know this is the move that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so y'all can maybe I'm going to kind of look at y'all and nod and gesture at him to distract him. And then I want to try and move around behind and sedate him.
Okay.
I wouldn't recognize what the dagger is, right?
Are you inside yet?
Yes. When he called me in to come.
Oh, okay.
I pulled him in.
So I came in when he yelled.
Yeah. You, Ox, are going to recognize the dagger.
Okay.
I guess this is all kind of happening at the same time.
Does it have a name? Like, just to say, when I come in quickly, can I say, is that the... Or not?
Not quite like that. I will say, go ahead and make us a move roll, and then I'll
Do I also
Ox's
need to
thing.
make a move roll to get to the door?
Go ahead and make a move roll, sure.
Okay. I do not have any of that.
Does anyone want to aid McCoy?
I can't help with nerve.
Okay.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, you can still roll 2 and take the lowest result if you want.
Risky.
Can I help because of this? Or is it...
You can spend a drive in that category to help.
I don't know. If we need it, if I recognize it.
What does the
But that's
resistance
metagame.
triangle again do?
You can basically, if you don't like the result of a move, you can burn a resistance to roll again.
But only I could do that, right? If I was rolling, like someone couldn't burn it for me.
Yes. Yeah, you would have to
Okay.
burn a resistance.
Okay. Does it matter if I'm doing it sneakily? Like it still needs to be moved?
I'm
not trying to talk-
No. I know what you're saying, but yeah, you're trying to like get behind this person, like it's just involving
That's fair.
a level of. But
Okay.
do you have any nerve? If you're willing to spend it, because like you blocking the door is sort of aiding her. You're like distracting. Like,
Yeah, no, I have 3 in the drive category of nerve, so I'm happily.
if you want to, then you can spin a drive. You don't have to, but
Yeah,
It's up to you.
I'll spin the drive because I can always get a drive back.
Okay.
From my strikes,
Okay,
So that'll
which
mean...
might come in handy.
The more I punch people, the more I get nerve.
that's right.
So that means I'm rolling 2?
You'll get
And
one
I-
for what he added to you.
and I
So
take
now you're
the-
just rolling 2, and you don't have to take the lower anymore.
Okay.
You're just rolling 2 dice now.
Okay. Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's my fault.
Double one.
It's my fault.
Double ones. Okay.
I stabbed myself.
Well, as you're trying to get by,
Just
He-
made myself.
he is going to swing the dagger as he sees you moving,
Okay.
and he's going to slash at your arm.
Okay.
And the moment that he does that, almost like kind of like a spider crawl of veins is going to start to come out from that wound, and it's just going to start spreading out from where that wound is. What do you do?
I jump backwards, and I'm gonna kind of hold it, and I'm gonna say to you guys, try and hold him. And I'm kind of holding my arm, but I'm still have the needle ready to try and sedate him.
Okay. And you're also going to take a mark of body and bleed.
Whoa.
So you're at 2 bleed.
Yeah, I'm not doing great.
So I imagine when I come in,
Yeah.
knowing what the dagger is,
So
I would say stay away from the dagger.
Yeah, it's less about knowing what the dagger is and more you recognize the dagger. Because this dagger has, it looks exactly like a set of daggers that you have seen in the study of your grandfather.
Okay.
Interesting.
Did he have? He had one.
Like he had multiple daggers that looked like this in his study, like up on the wall.
Okay.
I am going to grab a bar stool, smash it on the ground, and then proceed to say, "It's time to dance."
All right. Nice.
I am.
Do
Do I need to
a
roll or anything? For
do
the
a
question?
control roll. Control roll.
Control that roll.
Mm-hmm.
A 4.
Okay.
Please tell me I don't get splinters.
Wait, why did you roll? No, that's right. You would roll 1. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finesse.
All right. So you break the stool. You say it's time to dance. And he is going to, rather than dance with you, he's going to try to book it for the door. Well, you're standing in the way of the door, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm just kind of staying there. Hopefully, if story-wise this makes sense, there's a stool next to me because we are in a pub. I'm just grabbing the stool next to me while I'm at the door.
Okay.
Breaking in.
Well, then he's actually going to try to run for a window away from you. And he's trying to make a getaway. He's trying to get past people. And he's going to run for a window, and not just run for a window, he's going to dive out of said window, shattering glass, and now he's out of sight.
Phenomenal.
Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah, we gotta check on
whip
you.
out a cord from my medical bag and
Okay.
quickly tie it off on my arm to see, is it spreading?
It doesn't seem to be spreading. As you do that, then Temperance is going to come over, and she pulls out a vial that, rather than having gold flakes, it literally looks like it's almost like liquid gold of some sort, like a different material, also some sort of gold thing. And she is going to pour it along that cord, and then she very quickly steps back, and the kind of veining goes up to that cord, but it stops there. You're gonna take one more mark of bleed.
Oh no, that means I have a scar.
Okay. You are. It's a lot. You're gonna kind of slide to the ground, and you're incapacitated for a little bit.
Do I write like bleed scar?
Go ahead and you mark it, and you're gonna get to decide what that scar looks like for you.
Okay.
And we can reassess that in just a moment. What is everyone else doing?
What do you do after yelling?
Well, Thaddeus is very frustrated with everything that just went down. He just kind of like looks over at McCoy, looks over towards Wade, looks out towards the window, and then immediately is also trying to take in the whole crowd that just saw all of this going down as well. How quietly does Candela typically try to act in situations like this? Like, is this all like falling apart? People shouldn't know we were doing this. Like, this is.
Y'all are trying as much as possible to keep a low profile.
Yeah.
People don't necessarily just like Candela Obscura is not common knowledge to people.
Right.
So
we're not trying to flaunt that, but
Yeah.
then like so stepping in a situation like this, yeah. And no, he's not really doing anything. He's like just kind of looking down. He's looking to the chair where the guy was, even some of the blood. He's kind of speechless and looks like in a little bit of like a hyper analytic mode right now, just trying to think through what is best to do next.
I walk over to Thaddeus, recognizing that, and just briefly mention I've seen those daggers before. Did I talk to my grandfather about them? Like, do I know?
Here's a question: is your grandfather alive?
Yes.
Okay. You. Yeah. Roll a focus. Roll a focus roll.
Aha.
Nice.
Oh.
666.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
That's
Ironically, that's amazing.
yeah, ironically, excellent work. Yeah, so you that sparked a very vivid memory. You know that your grandfather has talked to you about these knives before. You know that it was a long desire of his to complete the set. He had 3 of them and desired to have the final dagger. He didn't know where it was. He thought that it perhaps came, like it had some sort of link to Empress Iomine, but he wasn't sure. And there's also a conversation you had with him like maybe a decade ago, so it's been a while. Just like the one time you asked, what are these daggers?
Yeah.
And you do also know, as a side note, that like in his study he has like maps and has tried to chart out where these daggers might be.
Okay. So I walk up to Thaddeus, since we have talked about this type of stuff before, and can see his frustration, and just say, like, all is not lost. I've seen daggers like that before. My grandfather said there was 4 of them, and he had 3. So that must have been the last. So maybe his research can help us locate it or understand what just happened more.
We need to track it down quickly. We almost had it. We didn't have to lie to him and make it a whole big ordeal. It was so close.
As he says that, you hear some screaming from outside around the window where the first mate leapt out of the window. You can hear like a commotion going on outside.
I run into danger.
What?
Run into danger.
Wait, take care of McCoy. Get her back up. Let's go see what's going on.
Cool. And as y'all exit and kind of run around the pub, you see that the first mate is there. When he had dived out of the window, he did not have his full wits about him, and he did kind of halfway dive out and did manage to fall onto said dagger. And the dagger is through the roof of his mouth and kind of sticking out of his head as he's just kind of crumpled on the ground, and his face is kind of turned a dark, kind of veiny black, and he is still
Deceased.
And that is where we're going to take a break and come back for our second half of Arc 1 of Circle of 5, Knives Out by Ryan Johnson.